said it probably in every single one of these that I've done, is that we live in interesting times. We live in a time unlike any other time in human history. And, it's almost like when I was studying for my acupuncture boards, I was living in a little, almost like a treehouse apartment in the Palisades. And I'm studying for my boards, which is super intense. And I get a note that I have to move out in a month. And I thought, oh, this is bad. And then my girlfriend broke up with me. So I'm studying like 18 hours a day, right? So that was bad. And then I hurt my back. That was bad. And financial problems. That was bad. And then I'm driving along Sunset Boulevard at the straightaway in the Palisades to get home. And I think to myself, well, nothing else could possibly go wrong right now. Don't ever say that to yourself. I look in my rearview mirror and there's these red lights flashing because I was speeding. And it's almost like that now. We have Trump, we have COVID, we have fires, we have hurricanes coming, we have climate change happening, and then on top of it all, an asteroid might be heading our direction. you know. So not ever say what's next, because I think the whatever power controls the universe or controls life here on planet Earth is really messing with us right now. Or really, all these challenges are coming together. And we have to feel it. We have to feel what it is we're feeling. Because if we don't, we're in denial. And at the same time, if there's nothing you can do, when those red lights were flashing, there was nothing I could do. The cop stopped me, and I'm sitting there hysterically laughing because just a second before I'd said nothing else worse can happen. And I was laughing, and he thought I was crazy. And I got the ticket, went to traffic school, and resolved everything. Ended up taking my board exam and being one of the, I think, 5% that actually passed the board that year. And got a new girlfriend, and everything was fine. So when these times come of high anxiety, and again, I'm speaking from theory here because what's going on now has never happened before. But I'm speaking from a theory based on lots of experiences in this. And that when these times are happening like this, what can we do? I cannot do anything to stop the fires. I can't do anything to stop the hurricanes. I can't do anything to, change the rapid descent into madness that many of my friends are involved in right now. Powerless. I certainly can't change whether the asteroid is going to hit me on the head or not. That's completely not in my control. So what is in my control? What is in my control? What is in your control? Is how we meet it. How we meet these times. I have a standing bet with anybody to demonstrate when excessive anxiety and excessive overthinking about a situation and excessive worrying about a situation has ever helped. Has ever once in your life helped. How mulling over the situation is like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? What is the meaning of all of this? I don't understand it. I can't do anything. I'm hopeless. I'm helpless. What can I do? And you start to loop in a circular thinking pattern going over the same things over and over and over again. Trump, 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 you know, whatever it is. Does it help? Does it help the situation change? Does it help you be strong? Does it help you be happy? Does it help you be healthy? And the answer is no, it doesn't. It doesn't change the situation. It doesn't change anything on the external plane. Making a choice to do something does. You know, these are the things we can do. But on the inner level, which I've been talking about now since I've been doing these, it's like it's a necessity, it's a survival skill to be able to connect to the place inside where it's quiet. It's a survival skill. Because when everything else is falling apart, what do you have left? You have you. You have your heart. You have your breath. You have your ability to change what you are focusing upon. If I focus on the voice in my head that tells me all about the elections coming up, I might be a mess. I'm actually quite optimistic about the upcoming elections. But I would be a mess. I'd be a lost cause. I'd be in panic. But I don't have to be. I don't have to be. That's the amazing thing about these times. And that's the amazing thing about what it is we're doing in these councils week by week. Because hopefully we're learning a little bit about how to find that clear, soft, beautiful space inside. And let that be the groundwork of reality. Let that be the basis of our reality. Which leads directly into today's topic that I promised I'd talk about last week. You know, I don't know if you can hear the hummingbirds in the background. Chirp, 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 chirp. My backyard has been infested with hummingbirds. At least 50 to 100 almost all the time. And they're adorable little assholes, really. But they're so cute. And in Andean philosophy, where there's lots of hummingbirds in the Andes and in the upper jungles of South America and the high jungles, amazing hummingbirds. You've never seen anything like it. Tails this long, you know. So beautiful. The hummingbird is a sacred animal in Andean philosophy. And it is considered to be the animal that has the ability to travel through all three worlds. Through the three worlds. And why is that important? So in Andean philosophy, there's the upper world, the middle world, and the lower world. I'll start at the lower world. The lower world is the area of the ghosts, of the monsters, of hell, of everything that normal human beings are terrified of. You know, one of the things that I get in ceremonies so much is people are really afraid to explore that region of themselves. Really terrified to see monsters. Really terrified to see bad stuff. And so the underworld, the Uchopacha, it's called, is also, and I want to say before I start into this, is that everything I'm going to say from now on is my speculation. This is not in any books yet. It's not something that if you look these things up online, you'll find this information. This is my speculations. So the Uchopacha, the underworld, when I was talking to a shaman, an Andean shaman about this, I said, it sounds like the unconscious mind. And this guy's, that's interesting. So if the Uchopacha is part of ourselves and not something that if you dig a hole deep enough, you'll reach, because we know we won't. No matter how deep you go, you're not going to reach hell. It'll get really hot very soon, but you're not going to reach hell. But that hell exists inside of us, in this vast realm of the Uchopacha, of the unconscious mind, of the place that we don't know we don't know. That's the definition of unconscious. We don't know it's there. We don't know it. We don't know what we don't know, unless we're on medicine and we get taken into that place. The middle world, Kaipacha, is where we live. Oh, back to Uchopacha. Uchopacha is controlled or represented by the anaconda, or by the boa, a snake. Kaipacha, where we live, is represented by the jaguar. This is the conscious mind. This is where we think. This is where we solve problems, where we do stuff, where we love, where we play, where we vote, where we worry, where we watch the news, where we allow other people to manipulate our unconscious mind. So in Kaipacha, impeccability is required. The impeccability of living your life right. I went through a period of my life when I was a teenager where I was probably entering something like a pretty deep psychosis or schizophrenia even. And I was a mess, and I didn't want to be institutionalized because I was sure that if I told anybody what I was going through, I'd be institutionalized. And I had the realization if I combed my hair, brushed my teeth, and wore clean clothes, and didn't say what I was experiencing, nobody would ever know what was going on inside of me. So it's a world where we have to brush our teeth, comb our hair, and wear clean clothes, take showers, do business, make money, lose money, make money, invest, learn how to live impeccable lives. It's the conscious mind. It's what we know, what we're aware that we're aware of. And living in Kaipacha has its own challenges, because what happens in Kaipacha is not in our control quite often. I can control if I brush my teeth or not, usually. If the water's off, I can't brush my teeth. Well, I can, but, for example, I can't control what we were talking about, the fires, the elections, the hurricanes, the pollution, the climate change. But I can do what I can do in my life to live in such a way that I make as little impact on those things, or as great of a positive impact on those things as possible, and as little of a negative impact as possible. This is in my control. This is what I choose. I can choose to live my life with compassion and understanding, or I can live my life as an asshole. It's my choice. Totally my choice. Maybe not inside, Maybe my Uchopacha is really messed up and it wants me to act like an asshole, but I don't have to. I can be in control of what my effect is, what my affect is in the world. The upper world and the animal of Kaipacha is the jaguar, a very deliberate animal. And then the upper world is Hanakpacha, the heavenly realms, the place where the gods and goddesses dance, the place of light, the place of music, the place of beauty, the place of flying, like the condor, which is the animal of the upper world, flies. This is the place where we all long to be. Our heart longs to be there. And in longing to be there, Mihai said they promised aliens in August. Yeah. August is almost over. Anyway, we better hurry. Anyway, so in the Hanakpacha, there's freedom from the other two worlds. Now here's where it gets a little bit tricky. It's because in Andean shamanism, you've got to basically explore the underworld first and master the underworld, which is the unconscious mind, which is the demons and ghosts and unconscious things that bubble up into our conscious mind, the hell realms. You have to be perfectly comfortable visiting those. And that's part of the hero's journey that we're on. Because if you don't do that, if you don't clean up your unconscious mind, it doesn't matter how high you go, the unconscious mind is going to be there waiting for you. And I see that right now with so many people that are spiritual people that have done lots of medicine ceremonies, that have done lots of going into the light, that have the cool tattoos and wear the right clothes and say the right words and have their hair just so, and change their name into very spiritual South Asian names. And so many of them have not done the work in the lower world. So the unconscious mind, which is what is being manipulated on the news, on Facebook, on especially YouTube, the unconscious mind not being aware, not being cleansed, will bubble up into this world and create anxiety and fear and terror. If I have not cleaned up my unconscious mind, my underworld, and I start to experience that bubbling into my consciousness, I believe a natural desire of human beings, or a natural defense mechanism of human beings, is to take those feelings and look for the reason external to us for why they're happening. And there are certainly plenty of good reasons that we can be at the effect of. Plenty of good reasons. But what's really going on a deeper level is I am not clean in relationship to my underworld. I haven't cleansed it. So the fear that I have can then turn into, oh my God, Trump. Or, oh my God, the Hollywood elite. Oh my God, the children. Oh my God, adrenochrome. Oh my God, face peelers. And all of the insanity that hopefully you're not aware of, but it's happening in our world right now. I externalize the demon. We're very good at that. You know, the whole idea of hell, the whole idea of the devil, the whole idea of demons is an attempt to not deal with your own internal monsters and put them on the outside where you can confess or pray or, you know, medicine away. So the underworld, if we don't explore it, traps us. We're trapped. We're victims. It's like the tarot card, the devil. Right? The devil's sitting on his throne, and the two male and females are sitting at his feet with collars around their neck, and the devil has the chain in his hand. But if you look really carefully, the collars are not closed, or the chain is broken. If you look really carefully at that card, they're there voluntarily. They could leave. And so when we get into the upper world, into the heavenly realms, into the God realms, or God's realms, we're dealing with the place we really want to be. So much fun, so much beauty, so much goodness, so much joy, so much love is there. And naturally, when a person experiences that, they can become fixated upon it to the exclusion of everything else. And in India, you can see that in the sadhus. They don't bathe, they cover their bodies with ash. They just sit around smoking chillums and chanting all day. Nothing wrong with that if it's your thing, by the way. I've thought about it in the past. Looks fun. But when you go into denial of the underworld, then the upper world, rather than becoming a place to really explore at the depths of one's soul, with no chains attached, becomes nothing but an escape route. It becomes a disassociation from reality. It becomes, it's all love, motherfucker, It's all love, motherfucker. Because it's not imbalanced. The three worlds need to be as one. And even Kabir said that. When I see the three worlds as one. And speaking of Kabir, this is getting more and more into my speculations. So in Ayurvedic medicine, there's the three gunas. The tendency towards the light, joy, happiness, purity. The tendency towards action in the world. And the tendency towards death and decay and unconsciousness. So when I look at those three gunas and the three worlds of Andean shamanism, I notice that they're almost the same. I notice that they're almost the same. And in noticing that they're almost the same, I wonder and believe that these two ideas can be combined into something that will even be more sensible and more valuable. For example, if I'm dealing with the unconsciousness, with the negativity of the unconscious mind, if I'm stuck there, I can eat more foods that are going to open me up to higher realms. And at the same time, we'll begin the action of purifying the, it's called tamasic guna, tamas, decay and sloth. And knowing the Andean part of it, it doesn't really work to just, eat the sattvic foods. You have to do the work. I believe much trauma gets lodged in the uchopacha, in the unconscious mind. I mean, I don't believe it, I know it. So we need to work on that while doing the actions that will open up the upper world, open up joy and peace. The middle world is rajasic, it's the action, getting things done, making things happen. Rajasic foods are spicy, coffee, hot spicy foods. And they're good when you need to do stuff in this world. If I have a business meeting, or sometimes even a Zoom call, I'll drink some tea or some coffee beforehand so that I'm manifesting more of the rajasic tendency. And the sattvic tendency is juicy, sweet fruit, delicious foods, dairy foods, good stuff, things that bring balance and harmony into the body. In Chinese medicine, we have 3 burners, upper, middle, and lower. And it deals with how food is processed. The upper burner receives the food, takes in from the world. The middle burner, they say it rots and digests. And the bottom burner, third burner, excretes, gets rid of the processed foods. It's just an interesting little add-on that so many places can give 3 worlds: mind, body, and heart. So in this, and so in doing medicine work, and I talked about this in the beginning a lot, there's the concept of dieta, of taking time off from life to purify your body, purify your mind, purify your heart with the foods you eat, with seclusion, with a very minimal amount, if any, of external effects on you. Definitely no news, definitely no Facebook, definitely no, ruminating upon the state of the world. But to take that time apart to do the inner work that we all need to do. And what I recognized in the beginning, and I'm still working at this myself, is this is a great time to do that kind of stuff. I can be fixated so easily on the news. Here's the thing about the fixation on the news. The news wants you to be fixated on it. Why? Advertising. Right after these words from our sponsors, we'll tell you about the aliens spotted coming in August, And then comes 10 minutes of commercials that you're like, where are the aliens? Where are the aliens? And all this time, these unconscious images are being fed into your unconscious and subconscious mind. The news wants you to watch it. Facebook wants you to watch it, to spend hours and hours a day, because the more time you spend, the more advertising revenue Facebook gets. So in Dieta, it's a time to reclaim yourself. It's a time to really reclaim who you are, not dependent and not based on what's going on in the world. And in doing so, the capacity to respond properly to what's going on in the world will heighten, will increase. When you look at hero movies, these super exaggerated ones, with the hero doing all these amazing, insane things, the one thing that the hero does not have is fear. It's pathological, but there's no fear. The samurai warriors of Japan and the martial artists of China would spend years and years and years overcoming fear, doing tremendously difficult things to overcome fear. What are the most frightful of creatures on the planet? The ones that get eaten. I see them, I see bunnies and squirrels all day, every day when I go outside here. And they're terrified little creatures. And they're food, especially the bunnies. They're food. So fear has no benefit in meeting a time when the thing that wants to eat you is in your own mind and has been put there by others. Because it's the fear that will get the bunny to run right into the jaws of the waiting coyotes. It's the fear that destroys our lives. And so, I've been saying it over and over again, spending time in whatever way, finding that quiet space inside is so important. Making that the basis of reality. So that you are not constantly blown apart by every change in the news that comes along. And the news, again, wants you to be terrified. Why is it all bad news? Because people like to watch bad news. Why do we like horror movies? Have you ever gone to a horror movie? I mean, I don't go to too many. I grew up on horror movies, though. But have you ever gone to a horror movie and been able to get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of it? Hold it, What's next? What's next? What's next? Or even a roller coaster. Kind of a long, boring love story movie. It's like, I can take 5 minutes off and I won't miss anything. So we want to not be at the effect of others. When the three worlds are integrated, when you've cleaned out and dealt with the realm of the ghosts and monsters, when you're living your life beautifully and impeccably in this world, and when your heart is open enough to experience joy and peace and bliss, then the three worlds are as one. You become a very powerful person at that point. Not power to change the world, but power to live your life as you alone want to live your life, as you wish to live your life, not as you're being programmed to live. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, upper world, middle world, lower world, heaven, earth, and hell. It's all metaphor for this internal journey that we're on. It's all metaphor for how to live. If I'm in the upper world and I don't pay my bills, I'm not really in the upper world. I'm in my fantasy, the unicorn farting rainbows fantasy land. It's all light and love. I'm not integrated. I'm not integrated. If I'm only in the middle world, I'm in another level of hell. To see this world as the only reality, and to see it in a totally 3D way, is like in the C.S. Lewis Chronicles of Narnia, book 5, I think, where people are entering through a shed into the kingdom of heaven, a garden shed. And everybody's going through, and they're in this beautiful playground of beauty and joy. And the dwarves walk in, and they're trapped in the shed, even though the shed has no walls. They're trapped because they see walls that don't exist. So the walls inside of us that we feel so strongly don't really exist. All of this stuff, even the philosophies, can evaporate when the heart opens, when the heart is strong, in such a beautiful way. How to deal with darkness inside. Don't try to make it go away, but illuminate it with consciousness. Illuminate it with awareness. Illuminating the underworld with awareness is how it's mastered. How to live life in this world from a place of the heart is to have that connection as well with the upper world. To sit, to breathe, to read the poetry, to listen to the music of people who have walked this path and are sharing it, or have shared it freely with us. And then we become integrated whole beings. We become masters of our lives. We become masters of hope, masters of joy. Because no part, no stone has been unturned. And it's a continual journey. You don't get to a place, as far as I can see, where you've mastered fully the demons and monsters inside. Maybe some people do. I've not been able to. What are you doing, Mihai? Are you saying something to me? Yeah.
I was just smelling an essential oil.
Ah, okay. You look like you were being... So,
That's how conspiracy theories form.
uh, so that's pretty much what I wanted to be speaking about today. And there's beautiful tools for helping do this. Beautiful tools that I've been trying to show people and teach people on how to do this. But the main tool that you have is to be in mastery of your own consciousness. I have Really simply, I have a pen and I have a jaw harp in my hands. I can focus on one or the other. I have thoughts of fear about what's happening in the world for things I cannot do very much about. That's a key place. If you can do something about it, do something about it. That's rajas. That's making your world impeccable. But if you can't do something about it, focus on joy. And just perhaps if we do that more and more, deal with these three worlds impeccably, just perhaps the world will change. I think so. My world changes when I do it. My world changes. And that's really the most important thing. It's not being self-centered or selfish or overly self-concerned, but it's recognizing the need for the middle world, the underworld, and the upper world to be united.